Bad news for Disney as they just lost their desperate, massive woke lawsuit against the state of Florida after getting absolutely railed by DeSantis for indoctrinating kids and pushing politics on the little ones. So if you haven't yet, make sure you leave a like on this video for another epic win for normalcy for people that don't want to indoctrinate kids, that don't want to push politics on their customers, and just want to be a good company. Judge throws out Disney's lawsuit claiming DeSantis retaliated against Hollywood giant for criticizing his Don't Say Gay law. It's not, this is the thing, like, I like how the Daily Mail will often cover things that are interesting to me, and they definitely cater towards me, but they still use their words and they still use preferred pronouns. So, Daily Mail, if people use ad block on their site, I support it. Anyway, a federal judge has dismissed Disney's lawsuit accusing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis of retaliation against the company for criticizing state limits on classroom discussions of bedroom activities. By the way, it was the Parental Rights in Education law, not the Don't Say Gay law. The U.S. District Judge Alan Windsor, a Trump appointee issued a ruling on Wednesday in Tallahassee federal court, finding that Disney lacked standing to bother even sue DeSantis and other state officials. The dispute began after Disney last year criticized Florida's classroom discussion ban on gender ideology and bedroom activities, dubbed the Don't Say Gay law by opponents, but it was really called the Parental Rights in Education law. DeSantis and his allies responded by stripping Disney of its special control over Reedy Creek Improvement District, which had given the company virtual autonomy around its theme parks, including Walt Disney World Resort. Remember all the woke idiots that kept saying how Disney was going to leave the state? Disney was just going to leave Florida. They were going to stick it to Ron DeSantis. I mean, that was never going to happen. The infrastructure's there. There is no way that Disney was ever going to be able to leave there outside of just shutting it all down. It was the dumbest fake bluff that Disney ever could have had, and the fact that they filed the lawsuit was even dumber. DeSantis and other defendants had urged Judge Windsor to dismiss the case, saying Disney could not sue them over constitutionally enacted state laws, such as the one rescinding Reedy Creek's special status. Now, we all know that it was retaliation. That doesn't make it, doesn't remove their legal right to do it. I didn't love, this is one thing I'll say, even though I hate Disney and I'm happy to see, bad things happen to them at all the time. It was a slippery slope where it was like, hey, we have like the state's government in, kind of meddling in private business. Now, when they do it to Disney, I don't care. If they had done it to like Joe's Plumbing or something like that, I think it would have been very different. In his ruling, Windsor agreed with the defendant's argument that if the law is constitutional on its face, a plaintiff cannot challenge by claiming lawmakers deviously crafted it with the intent to suppress free speech. Disney wanted to, in my opinion, groom kids so badly that they were willing to not only risk their entire business over it, right? But they went to court. They went to court to try and say, hey, yeah, we definitely still want to groom your kids. A DeSantis spokesman celebrated the ruling in a statement declaring the corporate kingdom is over. The days of Disney controlling its own government and being placed above the law are long gone, he said. The federal court's decision made it clear that Governor DeSantis was correct. Disney is still just one of many corporations in the state, and they do not have a right to their own special government, the spokesperson said. Disney vowed to push on with his court challenge in spite of the ruling. So they're still trying to do it. Now, when you get to these levels of money, Disney, Budweiser, any of these huge mega corporations, they could just spend all day, every day in court. They have lawyers on their staff, they already pay them. So it's like a sunk cost for them. Disney said, this is an important case with serious implications for the rule of law. It will not end here, Disney spokesperson said. Yeah, trying to say, oh, we're just like everybody else. Hey guys, we're Disney. We're just like everybody else. We're just trying to stick up for the little guy and free speech. They wrote, if left unchallenged, this would set a dangerous precedent to give license to states to weaponize their official powers to punish the expression of political viewpoints they disagree with. We are determined to press forward with our case. DeSantis began repeatedly attacking what he termed woke Disney in public appearances as he geared up for his campaign for the Republican national presidential nomination in an effort he abandoned earlier this month. State lawmakers stripped Disney of its control over the Special Development District since 1967 and had given the company control of the area surrounding Disney World. The newly formed DeSantis-appointed district, known as the Central Florida Tourism Oversight Board, then voided contracts that Disney pushed through just before the prior board was released. Since the takeover, more than 10% of District 370 employees have left their jobs, with many saying in exit interviews that the district has been politicized and now is permeated in cronyism. Well, it's funny when it's on the other foot, isn't it? Like, it wasn't politicized when you guys were pushing grooming on kids, allegedly, right? That's fine. Isn't it funny how when it's somebody's politics, like that politics that they agree with, suddenly everyone's like, what do you mean? This is normal. It's not getting political, this, that, and the other thing. But it's when it's something they disagree with, suddenly like, oh, this is being politicized. In asking the judge to deny DeSantis' motion to dismiss, Disney had accused DeSantis and his appointees of using political institutions to punish opposing viewpoints. The premise is not just legally unsupported, it's profoundly un-American. Wow, thanks, Disney. But Judge Windsor ultimately rejected Disney's claim against DeSantis and the Senate State Secretary of Commerce. He found that the company failed to demonstrate that DeSantis had any actual control over the board and struggled to articulate an injury caused by the secretary. He noted that since the supervisors had already been appointed, Disney would face the same situation it faces now if the court enjoined future appointments. It would be operating under the control of the CFTOD board, over which it has no control. Central Florida Tourism Oversight District Chairman Martin Garcia responded to the ruling by saying, I'm delighted that the lawsuit, which was nothing more than a distraction, is now behind us. Our board and this district will continue to make the appropriate changes to operate and function as an independent government agency to promote transparency and accountability while bringing more prosperity to the people in Florida. I mean, the fact that they had these insane exceptions where they had like their own police force and their own fire department and their own this and that, it should have never been that way in the first place. Now, let's not pretend Florida doesn't benefit, greatly from the tourism industry that Disney brings. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that, these type of deals probably happen all the time, between in states that rely on tourism. I bet you it happens in Vegas. It probably happens in California. It probably happens in Hawaii. If there's any main, big thing that people come see, they probably, make special exceptions for them. Disney shares were trading down 1.1% late Wednesday afternoon. Also, Disney allegedly gave previous board and its employees millions of dollars worth of tickets, discounted hotel stays, and other benefits that were akin to bribes of public officials, according to a report issued by the new board in early December. So not only was the Disney board that existed there corrupt as hell, they never needed to exist in the first place. So, this is going to, of course, quiet Disney for a little while. I assume that, I got to assume that Disney's probably going to just keep their head down and worry a little bit more about, all their movies losing all this money. I suspect Disney will probably be more interested in not losing $100 million on every movie they put out. But I talked about this with Alex on Alex Jones yesterday. These people seem to have an infinite cash supply, and they seem to be totally fine, endlessly losing money. And as long as they're pushing, the message. So for me, it's going to be interesting to see if they, if they double or triple down on this and want to continue to push it, because it doesn't really seem like a winning strategy. But then again, if they're getting their message out there, maybe it's worth it to them. I'm happy to let Disney ride this into the dirt, to be honest with you. So it'll be interesting to see how they react to this epic loss.